let's try that again.
Hi, welcome. We're so happy you're here. This is Amanda Christensen. She is the woman behind Utah Money Moms. Tell us a little bit about Utah Money Moms.
Utah Money Moms was created in an effort to share real-life money smarts with people at all ages and stages of life, really. And there are, I manage the project, but I have a lot of contributors who post guest blog posts and help out with content, who are also fabulous, share real-life tips. And then we try to pull tips from you, from viewers, from subscribers and followers. So it's sort of creating a money conversation that we can all benefit from and learn something from, take bits and pieces from, and say, this works for me, I really want to try it. And that's what we're seeing over there. So join in. That we're at UtahMoneyMoms.com, on Instagram and Facebook at Utah Money Moms. So join the conversation. We'd love to have you.
It's so fun. And you're doing this really fun thing on Instagram in your stories.
Yeah.
On Tuesdays. Tell us a little bit about that.
On Tuesdays on Instagram, we started Tuesday Takeovers. So one of the contributors logs in and takes over the Instagram account for the day. And that has been in an effort to share real life money smarts from people in real life situations. So Marta was our first one. It was wonderful.
It was so fun.
It was really
fun.
so fun. And people interacted and answered questions and responded. And I think it's just another great way to interact, be social, and talk about a topic that's kind of hard to talk about sometimes. It can be hard.
Well, it can kind of be a taboo topic.
Yeah.
We don't talk about how much we make. We don't talk about how much debt we have or how much we have saved.
And why? I mean, really, we don't want to go around flaunting those things. That's not the point. But the point is, if we were to talk a little bit more about how we make the money decisions we do and why, well, it's because I value family time. I value tradition. I value making memory. And so we do this or that, whatever. Anyway, sharing the decisions behind why you make the money decisions you make. I think we could learn a lot from each other about that.
I totally agree. Mm-hmm. Aubrey says, "Hey, hi, Aubrey." She was one of the Tuesday takeovers.
Aubrey, she was
so awesome.
The second week, so a couple weeks ago. But they're all saved. If you go onto Instagram and you hit the takeover highlight button, you could watch all the takeovers that have been done up until this point. And you should. Aubrey's was wonderful as well. And then just last week was Callie Ward from Washington, D.C.
That one was so fun.
Yeah, she did really great, talking about how her daughter earned the money to go on that trip. And then there they were on that trip.
In Washington, D.C.
And it was really, really fun. Yeah.
So if you are a follower of Amanda Christensen over on Utah Money Moms, go ahead and hit the heart button. Show Amanda some love. Let us know if you follow Utah Money Moms. And if you don't, go, as soon as we're done here, definitely go follow her.
Yes.
So, in the description of this live video, I said, have you had a checkup lately? So we think some of us go have checkups with our doctors every year. Mm-hmm. Some of us don't like to do that very much. Mm-hmm. It gives us some anxiety. But we don't think about our financial health as often as we think about our physical health. So let's unpack that a little bit.
Yeah, so if you were to go to a doctor for a physical checkup, they might check your blood pressure and your heart rate and your weight, and things would be, and it's pretty clear.
There are clear markers of health.
We know how to mark health. We know how to track health. That's sort of easy to see. What about, though, with financial health? What does it mean to be financially fit or be financially healthy? How do we know what aspects of our financial lives to zone in on and track, and how do we do that? And what do we do? So there are a couple of specific ways we can do that, and that's what we're going to talk about today is really looking at what our financial health currently looks like. Yeah. And then from there you can compare your goals and where you want to go. You don't know, though. You can't say where you want to go until you assess where you're at now.
Right. You have to have a little reality check with yourself.
Yeah.
Which can be hard, as like we talked about finance being a little bit taboo. Sometimes we don't want to admit to ourselves what our personal finance habits are.
That's step one for sure. Yeah. That's for sure.
Step one. So before we get into this, we have a really awesome freebie for you guys today. Yeah. So tell us about this worksheet.
So this worksheet is designed to take all the guesswork out of evaluating your own financial health. It's called the Financial Wellness Wheel. And it's just simple, fill in the blank sort of assess where you're at in each of these 8 areas, and then it gives clear next steps as far as what to do now.
Okay, so if you want the worksheet, if you want the freebie, type in the comments, I want the worksheet, and we will get that to you. We also would love to have some more people join in this conversation. Let's make it a not taboo topic. Let's share it with our friends. Yeah. Please hit the share button, like and comment. We would love to hear from you. Let us know where you're tuning in from. We will give you a shout out. We just want to talk with you guys.
Yeah, that's all. Yes. This is great. The freebie, I'm really excited about this. This is a really powerful tool that'll help you assess your financial wellness. So I want the worksheet. Let's see those comments and we'll get it out to you.
Okay. So as we think about financial health, just like with our physical health, it looks different for different people a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm. It does.
So financial health for my 6-year-old is going to be different than it would be for me. And I just turned 30. I will admit that. So tell us a little bit about how we can assess our financial health at different stages of life.
Okay, so first we got to know, let's know what is financial health and what is it not. It's not financial perfection.
Okay.
So let's get that out of the way right now. It does not mean that to consider myself financially healthy, I have to be set for life, completely debt-free, or, perfect, whatever that definition is for you. So that's okay. Let's get that off of the shoulders right now.
So I don't have to be ready to retire today?
No.
Okay.
No, you do not. And according to the experts, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which is a fancy name, but they have really nailed down about 4 areas that really define this financial health.
Okay.
And it's having control over your day-to-day and month-to-month finances, first. Second, having the capacity to absorb financial shock. So an emergency savings, for example. Third, being on track to meet your financial goals.
Okay.
So you know what they are and you are on track to meet them. And then finally, having financial freedom to make the choices that allow you to enjoy life.
Okay.
That is sort of that all-encompassing definition of financial health. So another way to think about it, having the feeling of financial security and financial freedom of choice.
Which I think that financial freedom of choice is the one that most of us think, I want to be there.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we want to be able to take those last minute trips when those tickets go on sale really cheap.
Sure.
Or to buy that new car or whatever it might be, whatever your goal is.
So I love language is giving gifts. So, we want to be able to act on those moments without it derailing all the hard work we've done or anything like that. Of course.
So Kirk wants the worksheet. Thanks, Kirk. We're so glad that you're interested in improving your financial health. Again, if you want the worksheet, type in the comments, I want the worksheet. Aubrey wants it. We'd love to hear from more of you and send you that worksheet.
So that was my first answer to that question. What is financial health? If we can get a better grasp for us on what does it take to have control over my day-to-day finances? What do I need to do to be able to better absorb financial shock? That's how we take steps toward financial health. Then we can really look at what it means for each age group and each sort of decade of life.
Right.
So for your kiddos and for children, it starts just as young as as the kids in our life. It's really important not to neglect conversations about financial health with them.
Right.
So at age 10 or in that decade of childhood, learning to add and subtract. Of course, they're learning a lot of those numbers in school, but also learning to sell a good or service for money and knowing that you have a talent that you can cultivate, and then that people would maybe be even willing to pay money for something that you've done.
Yeah, which Callie Ward talked about in your Instagram takeover just this week.
Exactly that. Exactly. She sat down with her daughter and said, what is it that fires you up? What's your talent? So she made it about her. What is something you would be interested in doing? Because we all know it's no fun to work. It's no fun to work at a job that we hate. It's no fun to do things for money that we don't like to do. So the idea is having a conversation. What do you like to do? What is something that brings you joy and fires you up? And then using that she used it as an entrepreneurship opportunity, which was really great. So,
and my kids, it's always made fun if I promise them some coins at the end. Making their bed, really fun if there's money involved.
Sure. I would make my bed too if there was money involved.
Probably not the amount I'm giving, pennies. They're little enough that any amount of money is very exciting.
That's not a bad thing to play up. And certainly some chores are just the chores that we do because we're members of this household. Other chores, though, attached to a sum of money, that's a great way to teach children and let them have their own experiences buying something. Another suggestion experts recommend is if a child loses money, the couple dollars they got from grandma in a birthday card, if they lose it, to actually not replace it, because it's the feeling of losing it that hopefully makes it never happen again, right?
Right.
So there's a lot we could dive. This is a whole nother Facebook Live we were talking before we started. This children and money thing is a whole nother moment for Facebook Live. But just some general tips when they're kids, giving them opportunity to buy something, to donate money, and to earn money is a good thing.
Yeah, that's great advice, and I think it helps them value it a little bit more. I was talking with someone I actually was at the dentist talking with the hygienist about braces, and she said she had braces as a teenager, and when she got them off, she wasn't very good about wearing her retainers and kind of the upkeep afterward. But as an adult, she got braces again, and she was paying for it herself, and it's very expensive. And when she was paying for her own orthodontic work, she was a lot more responsible about it.
Sure.
So I think instilling those values in your kids that they don't think money grows on trees. I mean, no one really thinks that, but just to teach them the value
there's not an endless supply. So
I love that.
This is really important.
Like you said, another topic for another day. So let's kind of move on from kids and let's dive into 20s, 30s, 40s, what we need to be doing to assess our financial health.
So in our 20s, experts recommend that we're learning to invest. We're learning what it looks like, what it means, why it's important. And it goes back to the time value of money. Someone who starts investing in their 20s is leaps and bounds really ahead of someone who starts in their 30s, although it's never too late to start. But learning some of the keys about investing, learning to create and stick to a budget, even in your 20s, when maybe there aren't as many line items in your budget, or you're not paying for your own insurance yet, maybe, or you just don't have a lot of the major adult expenses that come later. Still, learning to stick to a budget, a spending amount that you don't, learning to live within your means and things.
Right.
Regularly contributing to retirement in your 20s is really critical.
So let's talk about that a little bit. I could see some people in their 20s having programs through their employer where their employer is matching a contribution or making a contribution. But what about those times, maybe if you're working part-time, you're in school still, or you haven't quite found that forever job that's going to contribute to that retirement plan. What should people in that circumstance be doing?
In your 20s, so that's a fabulous question. That you don't have to have an employer-provided retirement plan to save for retirement. And you can open up a Roth IRA. You can go into any financial institution like Fidelity Investments or Edward Jones or places. I mean, there are many, and ask to open up a Roth IRA and get started with this journey towards retirement. And a lot of those companies will sit down with you for free and really sort of iron out, okay, you want to retire when you're 65? Okay. And what would you like, asking a few questions to get sort of a feel for your risk tolerance and what you'd like your lifestyle to be like in retirement. And they will show you what it's going to take to get there. And it would be fabulous for somebody to do that in their 20s, even if they weren't yet in their forever job.
That's great advice.
Yep.
Great advice. Okay, let's talk about 30s. What should someone in my age group be doing? Okay,
so in our 30s, we hope to have at least 1 times your salary saved for retirement. So your yearly salary in at least that much in the bank, or not in the bank, sorry, in an investment, hopefully, for retirement. And then beyond that, the things that are more the day-to-day finances are having that, the 3 months of expenses saved up, so that if financial if financial downturn came or someone was laid off, you had the financial capacity to carry yourself for a while,
to stay afloat until you find your next job. Or
so that's important at all stages of life. But in our 30s are when we're really transitioning into more of, possibly home ownership and things where if we miss a payment, it's a big deal and it affects family, and it's not something we want to gamble with anymore or wonder, how would I do that if so emergency savings, that comes into play. Starting estate planning documents and thinking about a will and thinking about how we want to take care of things, that all starts coming into play once you have big assets and things on the line too. So the 30s decade is when we really do start to see some significant financial health issues. And exciting things. It's exciting to talk about, well, who do I want to leave things to, or what do I want to do with this or that, and those are all fun conversations. But you're building good credit in your 30s too. That's really critical. You're building good credit from the moment you start, but in your 30s is often, like I say, when those home loans come into play that affect your interest rates if you're depending on your credit. So lots of stuff going on in our 30s. Yeah. Lots of stuff.
Yeah. Okay, Aubrey's saying, I knew nothing about setting up my retirement plan when I got my job after graduation. I think that's so common, Aubrey. You are not alone.
No, you're not alone. And hopefully, and usually when you get your job, you should be clearly directed to somebody who can help answer all those questions. And it is never a problem to say, I don't understand this. Explain it to me. Because that's the job. That's your job, one, to understand it and make the best decision. It's also a financial advisor's job to help you do that. So great. But it's it's sort of a mystery until all of a sudden you're in those shoes, you're there, and you have to figure it out. So
they don't teach you about that when you're in personal finance in high school, for sure.
No, they probably don't, darn it. But really a great blessing to have an employer who has those benefits and you can take advantage of them too.
Right.
Really great.
Right. And if you don't, you'll know, and you definitely should be taking those steps on your own, because that day is going to come and you want to be ready when it comes.
Right. The day comes, and retirement comes quicker and quicker every year. So
unless they raise the retirement age or whatever. All right. So
good point.
So 30s, we're starting to think about retirement and some of that asset planning. What about in our 40s?
So it just increases every decade as far as retirement plans go.
Like the amount you should have saved.
Yeah. Right? So we're looking at now 3 times our annual salary saved for retirement in our 40s. Saving at least 15% of your income. And then maybe you have some other investment accounts besides retirement as well for goals that are personal to you. College savings, establishing that for your children. It's a good time to look at that if that's something that's on your list or important to you. So setting that, and as soon as your children are born, you can set up college savings for them. So there's nothing stopping that. But
that could be a whole other Facebook Live.
Yeah, there's a lot of this.
And if there are any of these subtopics that you're particularly interested in that you'd like us to do another live video about, so you can ask Amanda all your questions, type it in the comments. We would love to hear feedback from you. And again, if you want the worksheet to assess your financial health, type worksheet. I want the worksheet in the comments, and we'll get that to you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's get moving.
So age 40, again, that's just increasing our financial capacity, our financial capital. Age 50, 6 times annual salary saved for retirement. So again, we're getting up there with how much is in that retirement investment. Increased knowledge about specifics of Social Security, Medicare, other employer benefits that are going to then take effect when we retire.
Right, that's age when you're starting to plan for your retirement.
Yeah, and how realistic is this deadline? And when, yes.
When do you want to retire? Is that a feasible time? Yep. Do you have enough saved?
And then if you might even have caregiving related issues with parents and making sure that they're taken care of and have that comes into play. So using trusted financial advisors and things when the assets start to become to where they need managing, you need some help with these decisions. That's something to do and common in our 50s. In our 60s, we're up at 8 times our annual salary saved for retirement. We've hopefully paid off our mortgage so that that's not debt that we're taking with us into retirement. And we're using retirement catch-up strategies if needed. So, that's a whole nother window or a whole nother aspect of retirement. But it's sort of a fun transitional time because you can start sort of envisioning what's my second act, like what's going to be, where would I like to volunteer when I retire, what are the fun things that we're going to do with this now that we've worked up to it our whole life. So,
I'm curious, those of
really
you watching, what your retirement plans are. I met someone once at a national park that worked at national parks during the summer and at Disneyland during the winter, which I think sounds like a pretty fun retirement plan.
Oh, I love that.
What are your retirement dreams? I'd love to see those in the comments.
I love that.
So those are great kind of markers to keep in mind. And we did not get into every little detail, but we would love to share. I wasn't going to mention this, but we'd love to share the show notes with you. If you want that, we'll try and get those to you as we send you the worksheet as well. So type I want the worksheet. We'll try and get you all this information.
Yeah, for sure. I'm happy to share because we are skipping over some stuff here.
There's just so much.
There's
so much.
Sure.
So how do we assess our current health? There's not a physician we can go to take our finance temperature. What do we do, Amanda?
Right, and there are financial professionals who can help, but something you could do right now today. You could go and type I want the worksheet. If I want the worksheet in the comments, and we'll send it right to you.
Tessa wants it.
Oh, great. Hi, Tessa. The Financial Wellness Wheel is a tool that's been developed so you can assess your current financial health in a variety of categories. So we're talking budget, emergency savings, debt, living within your means, retirement savings, credit score, insurance coverage, and financial goals.
Okay.
These are 8 areas that we can look at right now and say, where am I at? On a scale of 1 to 10, how satisfied am I with my credit score, with my retirement savings, with living within my means? Do I spend less than I make on a regular basis consistently? This is what the Financial Wellness Wheel is going to help you do. And then you connect the dots in this circle, and you can see where your wheel is sort of out of whack.
Right, because a functional wheel should be symmetrical, and if it's you'll be able to see.
You'll be able to see clearly what areas aren't. And then the worksheet has a list of, if you'd like to improve your credit score, here are some suggestions. And they're baby step kind of suggestions. They're not major life-changing suggestions. They're things you could do right now, today, or in the next week that would help you feel a little more financially fit.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So, type I want the worksheet if you want to have that download, and you can fill that out and get yourself going on that road to financial health improvement. Let's talk about just quickly what some of those steps are to become financially fit.
Okay, so let's pick some of the popular categories. So like emergency savings. If that's one that you would like to work on and you see that your wheel is out of whack in that category, there are a couple suggestions that you could do. You could go in and set up the account. Just get an account set up if that's the baby step. Next, set up a monthly $5 transfer from your account from your paycheck into this account. And if you can't do it with your employer, you can do it at your bank or credit union. You can set up an automatic payment. And automatic payments are huge here because they happen automatically. They happen without any doing on your part, right? You set it up once and then it just happens.
You make that decision one time instead of every month.
Right. And look at that. $5 is going into that account every month or whatever it is. And certainly increase it from $5. But if $5 gets you going and says, I can do this, then $5 it is, right? It's better than nothing.
Little side question.
Yeah.
What is that emergency fund for?
That emergency fund you should be pretty picky about how you use it. And we're only really suggesting about $1,000 in an emergency fund like this because you have hopefully some savings for other things. But an emergency fund is for emergencies. So the furnace goes out in the middle of the winter, right?
Would you suggest only using it if you don't have the funds to cover it in your regular checking account?
Yeah.
Like if you can cover that
Yeah.
the cost of the furnace repair, or new tires on the car don't dip into that emergency fund.
Right. Absolutely. It's for emergencies, and it should help you feel peace of mind that you don't have to resort to a credit card. You don't have to go that route
Into debt.
to take care of an emergency that happens today. So that's a good one. Having $1,000 by a specific date, you could set a goal, another baby step. If you've got an emergency fund, maybe it's time to take a step ahead and say, okay, how fast can we get $1,000 saved in there? And like make it a game, make it a family event, and set a reward that it's tied to. If you complete the goal by the date, set a reward for that you're excited about.
Okay,
and
I love that.
That will give you the oomph that you need to get going.
I love that idea.
Yeah.
So Tessa got the worksheet. Oh, I'm so glad.
Okay.
Awesome.
It came through. Yay! Great, Tessa.
So if you want the worksheet, type I want the worksheet in the comments. We'll get that to you through chat.
Okay, let's just pick one other topic here. So financial goals is a great one. Let's say you fill out your vision board or your worksheet, your wellness worksheet, and you thought, I don't really I think I'd like to look at creating some financial goals.
Right.
Really, what are they? What is that for me?
When you look at those indicators of financial health by decade age, those could be your goals.
There they are, right for you. Right, exactly. And if you don't know, you can ask yourself some questions like, what does financial security mean to me? What would it take to get there? And then all of a sudden the goals just start coming because you know what that means. So financial goals, creating a vision board of a financial goal is something I've talked about on a recent Studio 5 segment. It's really pretty powerful to visually depict your goals, not just talk about them, not just write them down, but to actually print the picture of whatever it is that you're working towards. And it's not always something you're trying to buy. Sometimes it just means like, well, I'd like to be able to pay to help my kids get to college. Yeah. So maybe then I print a picture of a diploma or a graduation cap.
Yeah.
And that's on my vision board. And when I look at that sparks a feeling in me that keeps me motivated. So a vision board is something I highly recommend for your financial goals. I also think setting a goal for what you'd like your financial situation to look like in 1 year. So by or 8 months from now, by the end of December this month, what would I like to have tried to accomplish?
Right, which that seems, you think, retirement, like that's so far away.
Right.
I've got plenty of time for that.
Right.
But when you think about the end of this year, okay, like that sparks action for me.
Good. I think that's the key. The key is also then to tie a reward to the goal. You just got to do that. If you've been setting financial goals and you've fallen short, or you haven't been able to stick to them for whatever reason, or setting financial goals just doesn't really sound like a lot of fun at all, try tying it to a reward that you are excited about. This is going to be different for everyone, but maybe it's a trip, maybe it's a girls' night, maybe it's just something for you, maybe it's something you'd like to buy. Maybe it's the sky's the limit there. But as soon as you tie it to a goal that fires you up, now all of a sudden I remember it, I care about it, and I work towards it a little better.
Oh, I love that suggestion.
Yeah.
So are all of these tips included in the worksheet?
They are.
Awesome. So if you want, we just covered two of the tips, but if you want to see all of the tips and things you can do to improve your financial health, just type in the comments.
Yeah.
That you want the worksheet, and we'll send that to you.
Yeah.
So we have one more exciting thing that we want to talk to you about.
Yeah. It's Financial Literacy Month, so we have a giveaway going on the Utah Money Moms page. We are giving away one of those mini photo printers, the little guys that wirelessly. So you take your phone and you connect it via Bluetooth, and then you hit print, and you can print your Instagram photos, and they're super cute, and they're like mini size. And I've seen people create like banners out of these that they hang on their mantle or in their kids' bedrooms. The sky's the limit on what you can do.
It's kind of like in the same thread as the Polaroids, like the cute little photos that you can use your phone, which has oftentimes a really great camera, and you always have it with you.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
Print it off right there. So these are really hot items. They're fun, and we're giving one away on the Utah Money Moms Facebook page. Head over there. The post is pinned to the top of that page. That should be the first thing you see. Easy to find. All the instructions for how you enter the giveaway are there. and share it. Share it with a friend. Unless you want better chances to win, I guess, then don't share it.
We will share the link to where you can enter that giveaway in the comments. So just follow that link. We'd love to have you enter that giveaway and see what cute things you do with your photo prints. Yeah. So thank you so much for joining us today. It was so fun to have some of you interact with us in the comments and talk about something that's sometimes hard to talk about, but it's so important. Yeah. So important as we plan for our future. So there's the giveaway link. It's super long, but if you click on that, you will find that giveaway.
Yeah, that's right. The link right to the Facebook post. That's why it's so long, but it'll take you directly there. Perfect. So, and I would say the final thing I would say in this financial health topic is just to take a baby step today, to go, even if having a conversation with your spouse is the baby step, or downloading the worksheet, reading through it. Do something.
Pick one thing.
Yeah, we don't have to get consumed in all the things. We just need to find one thing we can feel good about moving forward with. And improving your financial wellness starts one step at a time. Just like improving your physical health starts one step at a time.
Right. Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Amanda, for joining us today. Again, if you haven't found Amanda over at Utah Money Moms, check her out on Instagram and Facebook. Enter the giveaway. We would love to send you the financial wellness
worksheet.
Wheel.
Yes, wellness wheel. Financial wellness wheel worksheet.
Financial wellness wheel worksheet. Twister. But you don't have to type that in the comments. Just type, I want the worksheet. We will send it to you. Yeah. And I'd love to know if you take some steps from that worksheet. So follow up with us. We'd love to hear what you're doing. You can message Amanda. Maybe she'll share something on her Instagram stories. We really want to make this a community of learning and improving our financial health. Yeah. Okay. Great. So thank you so much, and we will see you all next time.
Thank you. Bye.